That's the wind. That's the wind.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
You guys got storms there?
Let me just, you know what? Let me just quickly close the door.
Okay. Hey, Sheldon, how you doing?
Doing all right. Like my photo.
And we're alive.
All right.
So good, obviously good evening and good morning and good afternoon, guys. Welcome to the Godox talk. Yay! Today we have Jameson and Sheldon to share some of the cinematic filming techniques as well as the lighting techniques. Without further ado, I will just let you guys to introduce about yourself and talk about the past projects you have, and we can get the ball rolling from there. How about that?
Okay, cool.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, my name's Jameson Brooks. I go by Jamie for everyone that knows me. Yeah, been filmmaking for about 14 years now, and me and Sheldon have ran a production company for the last, however long, 7, 8 years or so.
Yeah, almost 10.
10, and we've done everything from commercials to feature films to music videos, documentaries, whatever you name it. We've pretty much done it, and so yeah, here we are. I don't know what else to really talk about.
Now, same for me. Me and Jamie have been, friends for a long time, and our filmmaking interests kind of came together, and we decided to start a production company about 10 years ago. Since then, we made a feature film. We've done numerous short films, and then we grind the commercial world for work and money, and that's our everyday life is editing or shooting. So you name it.
Yeah. So did you guys do? By the way, did you guys do Luke's V1 video?
Yes, we did. We worked with
that
Luke
was
and David
fantastic, right?
on both. Well, on their first 2 videos, I think. One was called Unveiled, and the other one, I forget what the other one was called. But yeah, they were a lot of fun. That's really where we were introduced to Godox and where we really fell in love with the lights themselves. So that was really cool because that pretty much changed our everyday workflow because Godox from then on became a part of it. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. We really enjoyed working with them and working with the lights. Yeah,
they're great guys, and they've introduced us to Godox, and we've kind of taken it from there. So
yeah, when I look at Luke's video, I was like, damn, I hate those guys. Because the way you make this commercial looks like it's almost like a film and a movie look. It's something I always wanted, but I always wasn't able to do. It's the kind of production you say to yourself. It's like, oh God, I wish I could have done that. It looks so good, man.
Yeah, I mean, they make it easy because they're super professional and their setups are really nice and they lit it perfect, and their photography is absolutely unbelievable. It's amazing. And so it made our job a lot easier to actually go out there and shoot because
creatively they're pretty awesome, and they set up some pretty cool stuff. So it's easy to capture good stuff whenever you're on a creative set where everybody's like-minded. So
yeah, do you guys want to talk about those projects you have done for last 14 years? Like not exactly last 14 years, but the projects.
Everyone.
The thumbnails over here. Yeah.
Every single one of them. I will say that probably 95% of work that we both do, we don't ever put our name on it. We don't show for it a lot. But the other stuff, the creative stuff, whenever that comes around, that's really where the passion lies, and that's really why we got into filmmaking. So a lot of these projects that we kind of, there's some stills here up on the screen right now. Some of those are from everything from fashion shoots. One's a feature film. One of them is a Poopery commercial, which is really funny. And we've got some TV sizzle reel stuff in there. We've got a little bit of everything. Looks like a network TV spot. So yeah, I mean, what else, Sheldon?
You missed. You have a TV show that we're working on. Oh, you don't have it. Do you have Sticky Business on here?
There's one little still.
Yeah. A TV show, a pilot that we're working on, and we have a lot of stuff in the works. You're constantly putting projects together, and if you're writing your own projects and producing your own projects, there's a lot of long runs, so to speak. So we have a lot of things moving forward, and then a lot of things that we've already done. So,
which is good. shall we have a look at the first one? Let's just get a ball rolling. Let's look at the first one. And guys, all the questions actually are welcome. Here we have a question from our user Aura. Here's a gear recommendation for low budget.
You talking cameras? Or you talking lights? What do you think?
Yeah, Aura, we need a bit more details. Are you talking about lights, or are you talking about the best camera for filming? If you can be more specific, and we will be able to address your question. Cool. Shall we move down to the next slide?
Yeah, fire up those questions when they come through. So,
can you guys see the question on the right?
Yeah.
Yes.
No. Hold on. Yeah. Let me pull it up here. It's in private chat.
Yeah.
Awesome. There we go. Cool.
Okay. So yeah, easy.
Okay, I gotcha. Okay, just figuring all this stuff out. So okay.
No worries. Sheldon, do you want to move down to the next slide?
I'm sorry. That's mine.
Yeah.
That's not me. Yeah.
So this is.
I can relax. Sorry, Sheldon. That's okay. Sorry.
You got me clicking it over here.
Kind of some stuff that we've done over the years with awards and whatnot, some behind the scenes photos, and we just did a feature film called Bomb City, and a couple years ago we premiered it. It was based on a true story that happened in a town that we're both from, and we premiered it in front of the hometown crowd to like 1,400 people. It was an amazing. I don't know if you've ever watched a movie with 1,400 people in attendance, but it's pretty wild. So that was definitely a life-changing experience for us to be able to, work in the trenches on something for, it took us 5 years to produce this movie, and to finally be able to show, all these people, in the end, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's pretty surreal.
5 years.
Yep. 5 years. Yeah, ground up.
Yep. 5 years to independent.
Yep.
Jimmy, do you want to zoom in a bit, because this broadcast is going to be in 1080 sort of resolution, and on some device it's going to be 720. So if you can zoom in, we would be able to see the thumbnail as well as the text. That'd be great.
Okay. Oh, that's a little much. How's that? Is that better?
Yeah, that looks good.
If I go, how's that look?
It looks good on my bigger screen.
I would imagine the user will still be struggling to read the text. Okay, so if you can zoom in and just walk from top down, and walk down each thumbnails and talk about the details, that'd be great.
Okay, so these are just awards for like I said, we've done movies, short films, commercials, and these are just kind of some of the awards that we've won throughout the years and stuff.
Lots of international awards.
Yeah. I mean, a little bit of everything there.
I'll say one that sticks out to me is the short of the week, which we produced a super low budget short film for about $400. It was called Behold the Noose. It was, we had a friend who we had an in at basically a awesome location. It's kind of a haunted house location, and we came together with him and basically brought our skills and then his skills. He's kind of a set builder. And a buddy of ours, was a pretty good actor, and we threw it all together and made something for like $400. We threw together a couple of police uniforms and paid a cop a couple hours to use the police car. But other than that, it was all what we had as far as gear goes. And we ended up, Jamie had submitted it to Short of the Week, and we ended up being featured on there. And that was kind of a big, that was a big moment for us early on in our filmmaking. That Short of the Week was a pretty big audience for us. So I thought that was a cool moment.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of where we realize the importance of your location. So your location is more than half the battle whenever you're filming anything big time. So the more detail, the more production value you can get out of wherever you are shooting, the better your project's going to look no matter what. Depending on, it doesn't matter what gear you use or anything. It just really, it's dictated by obviously time of day, and all that kind of good stuff, but really just that location itself.
And I think you'll hear us hit on that a lot, where like, I know camera plays such an important role in filmmakers, and especially when you first start out, you're looking at those, you know, the red helium or the Arri Alexa, and you're thinking, man, if I just had that camera. But so more important than that is the stuff that's going to be on camera, the lighting and the set design and all that stuff is so important. I think early on you get in that gear chase with cameras, and you're like, man, if I just had that camera. But really, if you focus on the set design, the lighting, and what's going to be on camera, you actually get a lot further than you would think without even having that, you know, red helium to shoot it all in 8K. So.
Yeah, Sheldon, you read my mind. I was like, when I was the first time I watched the V1 commercial, I was like, oh damn, I need a camera too. But it's actually the design and
it's not even the camera. We use for those videos, even we weren't using anything super expensive. We were using normal DSLRs like Panasonic cameras or Blackmagics, stuff like that. For, you know, that's really our run and gun setup for the most part, are these, you know, the smaller little mobile run and gun cameras. And nowadays the dynamic range and the quality and the everything that you get out of these little cameras is so much better, that yeah, if you light up you have a good location, you light it, you spend more time lighting and think about your composition more than anything, more than any of your gear, anything, you're going to get a lot better result every time. So here's a question here. Do you want me to answer this one, or do you want me to answer?
All right. Here's your answer, right? Because I think Jameson and Sheldon just addressed it. Sheldon just gave you a case study of $1,400 production. And Jamie actually told you about what sort of Panasonic and the Blackmagic camera you were using. If you can share with us.
So
great. Yep.
Basically, every day is a GH5S and a S1H as far as Panasonic goes. Also, a big fan of the Blackmagic cameras. You know, even the Pocket 6K, 4Ks.
Yeah,
awesome camera for the price. I mean, you can't really beat it. Really good stuff, but. What we found out recently were these new Godox lights. My personal favorite was the LC500R and the Mini Creative M1, RGB M1.
That thing is awesome.
I don't know what they run with like $150, $200 or something. Like amazing little lights that you can just stick anywhere. We'll get into it a little bit more, but as far as like, you know, filming anything on a budget, if you just have those cameras and you have these either one light or two lights, you're golden. You're good to go. You can go anywhere and shoot something really cool.
Cool.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that goes into, like, if you're working for, you know, if you have a client and they have a budget, and for us, you know, we want to take the job, but we want to work into their budget, because if you try to squeeze too much money out of them, no matter what happens, they're not gonna be happy with the result because they spent more than they wanted. So with us, it's just having the lights and having the cameras and all that to, you know, where we can go and still create an image that we're happy with and that we're excited about and that the client will then be excited about, and we can do it within their budget. And sometimes that budget does call for the red helium and the anamorphic lenses and all, you know, the big setups and the grip trucks, but sometimes it doesn't, and we don't want to turn those clients down and or not give them what they desire. So
cool. Thank you, Sheldon. Do you guys want to address this question about from our user Brian Paul?
Yeah. What's up, Brian? Thanks for tuning in. Let's see. Hold on. Let me pull it up here. You think about color correction while lighting when you were shooting Bomb City? Absolutely. We thought about color correction. We thought about every small aspect. We had, wish I had it on me, kind of like a palette or like a lookbook, a mood board that was kind of the foundation of everything that we were going to shoot. We took that and we presented it to Jake Wilganowski, who was our amazing DP. And then he was able to take that and then bring that to life. So we definitely had, some of our favorite movies, some of our favorite commercials, all the looks. I mean, I spend so much time on Vimeo going through all the likes from like all the artists that like I really respect and appreciate their work. I see what they're looking at. And I just, that's how I get my inspiration anyway, with all the looks and the coloring and everything. And from there, I just build a mood board out and we take it scene for scene and see what works. And
I mean, even during production, you and Jay got together and y'all put together a LUT, which we saw on our monitors that, was already a reference to this color style that them two had worked out together. So.
So I don't know if everyone's familiar with the LUT or not, but lookup tables, they are incredibly useful because you're able to actually color correct your shot without baking it into your shot. So you can kind of see what the finished product will look like before, you know, you're stuck with it, so to speak. So they're super useful. And a lot of times you'll use, you know, a bunch of different LUTs and everything. Just, you know, like, oh, that look isn't the look that we wanted. That's not working for this location or this lighting or whatnot. But that is definitely a good way to start and to know what you're going to end up with.
So you preload all the LUTs in your, let's say, Ninja or Atomus, and you know, on the scene. Yeah.
Not all the time, but it's more important that your exposure is good and that your subject is in focus. You need to focus on that before you focus on any coloring. But because many times I focus more on the color and then I've totally blown it on an image, you know, so it happens. So it's important though. I definitely think though, if you can at least have 3 go-to LUTs, you know, to any shoot, just to see what works, and clients appreciate it too. They don't want to look at a flat, crappy image. They want to see it, you know, polished and what it's going to really look like. And that's really how you impress.
Yeah. You spend a lot of time explaining to clients. No, it's not going to look like that.
Oh, tell me about that. You're not funny, right? Yeah, struggling. Here's another question, but let's just address that after we finish the slides, shall we?
Gotcha. Yeah.
Sure. What do we get? I don't know what you guys can see. What can we see here?
Yeah, we can see it. It's the it's got the Bella B at the top.
Okay. So yeah, this was just some stuff that, you know, graphic design plays an important part as far as my composition. It goes into filmmaking. I'm kind of a graphic designer at heart. And so anything that I shoot, I always think about what would that look like on a poster? I mean, I'm not a photographer, but as far as, you know, shooting and pulling stills from anything, it's always a possibility that you're going to end up with because you have so many options. So these are just references from basically stills that were pulled, you know, to make presentations and whatnot, ads. And then, yeah, we have a couple. Bomb City was featured in Variety and Vice and Forbes and a lot of really cool publications. So we were super grateful of that. Never would have thought, you know, starting independent film 5 years ago or however long it took us to get it off the ground, it would end up in all these publications and stuff. So that was really cool. And then down here, kind of our client list. We've done everything from AT&T, 80s, all kinds of stuff.
Jimmy, do you want to zoom into? Yeah.
We will zoom in over here. We'll go down. And how about that? Can we see that?
Yeah, that's good.
I can't tell what you guys can see, but I'm new to this whole streaming thing, everybody. So give me a break, okay? Take it easy on me. Yeah, so there's a list.
It's all over the board. Yeah, it's all over the chart. So
it's in every single one of these is a different color palette, a different look, a different style. Some of it is the dark, moody stuff. Some of it's more of the high key, you know, like perfect world type looking, perfect scenario. So you just got to be, I guess, able to think on your toes and be able to light for any scenario. And you know, we've delivered everything from black and white to some, I mean, ton of stuff there. So there's probably 300 others that didn't make the cut, didn't make the list that we didn't show, but yeah, we stay pretty busy.
That's awesome. Do you want to talk about those one by one, maybe just a bit?
Yeah, each one of these?
Yeah.
I don't really have any.
Sorry, I mean, I was referring all to the posters, not the brands.
Oh, yeah. This stuff right here?
Yeah.
These are just stills that were pulled from the movie itself, you know, and we just do the quote overlay on it. But hopefully, we can't really show it here, but hopefully, you know, after you get done watching this, you go out to, I don't know if anyone has NBC Peacock. Do you have Peacock in Australia, Aries?
Oh, I think we do.
You heard of Peacock? It's like for streaming. Oh, you got to pay? No, it's free. It's
free here.
Free with commercials. But Bomb City is up on Peacock right now. So it was on Amazon Prime. It's been on HBO. It's been, what else, Sheldon? It's been all over the place.
Yeah, it's on IMDb. It was on IMDb TV on Amazon. I'm not sure if when we went to the Peacock, the NBC, that it switched. If they took it off Amazon, I haven't seen that. So I haven't went back and looked for it, honestly. But it is definitely on NBC Peacock. So and Tubi TV as well if you want to watch it for free with no commercials. Or you can go to iTunes, the regular routes, and find it if you want to, rent it or purchase it.
Yeah.
Or just ask Sheldon, he'll send you a DVD.
If you want to throw me the link, I can actually reply to everyone to say, you can check out about here's the link, rather than because under time constraint, let's just not show it here.
Sure.
Yeah.
But we can give a link. People can watch it at their own time. Yeah.
So here's just some of the poster, the artwork and stuff for the film. So it's just some of the stuff this is a fun part for me for any production job. I always like making posters and stuff. So whenever you have an opportunity to make a really nice thumbnail, like on YouTube or whatever it is, I think it always helps viewership. It helps people want to tune in and check it out, as long as it helps make the project look legit. So definitely focus on that thumbnail and have a good thumbnail that's going to drive traffic, because that's, I think, super important for anything that you put out there on the web. So we have a little bit of everything here. So it just shows you from some of the more edgy work to some of the more corporate style stuff. And so on the bottom right, we have, I don't know if you're able to see it that well, but they're just decks and stuff that we do that's aside from filmmaking itself. We do a little bit of everything. So
yeah, the print materials and all that stuff.
So that's the cool thing about, I think, being in photography and being in filmmaking is that you're not just in those fields. You're in, like you said, Aries. You're producing, films too. Photography is your, that's your go-to, but you're filmmaking as well. So it just they balance each other out really well.
It is what it is nowadays, right? Because we have have a couple of friends who's doing, I'm from wedding background, right? Because lots of friends who's mix the still as well as the motions. It is what it is nowadays. I guess everybody needs to learn a bit about both sides, which is good too, right? I actually sometimes I do filmmaking, not really filmmaking, but do videos. I quite enjoy stay behind, capture the moments rather than talking all the time. So yeah, it's different fun.
Yeah, for sure.
Different fun. Yeah. Here I have a question from Brian. Says, is there a go-to kit you always carry? You always, I guess he's saying, carry with you on location?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. It just depends on how big the project really is. But I would say, as far as go-to, a Ronin S, so a gimbal, your obviously main camera, so a GH5 or S1H for our sake, and I'm a big fan of Rokinon lenses. I like the quality that you get out of them, and I like the price. You can't really beat them for what they are. So as far as go-to, that's pretty much it. If Sheldon wants to touch on audio at all.
I mean, for me, I think the lighting kit too, the easy, I know, someone mentioned this earlier in the questions, the 3-point lighting. We have the SL200, which, we use for the bigger lighting scenarios. And then we have 2 of the SL100s, which have been working out great for us. You have a China ball, soften it up. And that, for us, for most situations, if we're doing, some documentary style filmmaking or storytelling, just, interview and B-roll, those lights will get you through a lot of situations. And he mentioned the little, the color texture lights. Those can bring an interview up, another notch if you want to add those in your kit. The little, I forget the name of it, but the small handheld one, we use it so often.
It's called the Mini Creative RGB M1. You can literally put it in your pocket. It's the size of your phone, and it has 360 degrees of color. You can control saturation of your light. It's got like police flashing lights effect. It's got like a paparazzi effect. It's got flashing TV. It's got fire. It's got everything, and you can literally carry it in your pocket. So that is definitely part of your go-to anywhere.
I mean,
don't leave home without it, because it's too good. Too good.
Yeah. And if you go
powerful. That thing is powerful. Like I was so impressed with like how much light it could emit. I mean, it's this big, and it's just like crazy.
Yeah. I was joking with my friend the other day. I said, if he's co-pubbing, he should carry the M1 with him because it comes with a music mode. He can just keep on music on himself, lights on
a music
himself.
mode?
Yeah, it's I think F16. So when the music starts,
okay,
it's sort of flashing with a rhythm, like dum, 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 things like those.
Interesting.
That's crazy.
It's pretty funny. Yeah, it's pretty funny. I tell you. So here is a question from Parker.
We actually know Parker.
Parker, yeah, we know Parker.
Giving us a hard time.
Hi, Parker. He's a great producing friend of ours. So he works on a lot of the projects with us and stuff. So thanks for watching, Parker. And that's
happy birthday, Sheldon.
Yeah, that's what.
There's your brother right there.
Yeah, so Bomb City is based on Brian Deneke, the true story of Brian Deneke, and Jason's his brother. And thank you for the birthday wish, Jason.
Hi, Jason.
Yeah, happy birthday, Sheldon. Are you Virgo, right?
Yes, you got it.
Yeah, my son too, because we just finished our son's birthday. So yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
He's gonna be a good kid.
Yeah, like everything to be perfect. Already showing the characteristics and things, things to be in particular order. Does it make sense?
That's the blessing and the curse. So
I would see as a blessing, really. Yeah. All right, cool. Should we move down to the next slide?
Let's do it. So we got more Bomb City here. Hold on just a second. Let me. Okay. So this was just kind of cool for us because I know it was a big deal for Jake, who was our DP. We actually shot the movie on the Red Dragon, and so it was like, I think it was brand new 6K at that point. Like, or was it the Weapon? It was the Weapon. So the Red Weapon, and the cool thing is one day we just checked out Red's website, right, just out of the blue, and Bomb City was one of the featured films up there in between The Martian and Straight Outta Compton. Which is, two awesome films. And so it was just really cool to see that it was sandwiched right in there on Red. So I think that was a big deal. And I think that our DP, Jake Wilganowski, was like super stoked to see that too. So that was just cool for me. I don't know, really enjoyed it. But yeah, let's go into, you want to play that first video?
Sure. Which one are we referring to? The Bomb City
the Bomb City cinematography.
Okay, sure. Oh, do you want to play that? Do you want me to share it? Sure.
Yeah, because you can play the parts that you want to play and just scroll through it otherwise if you want to. But this video is basically kind of what it takes to as far as like what we were talking about earlier, the color grade, the lighting, everything that goes into creating a scene for a movie. So if you have 100 extras in a movie, or you have, just a small intimate scene, you kind of see everything that goes into it here. And this video, it highlights Jake Wilganowski, who, once again, the DP of Bomb City. We talk about like the importance of practicals and using lights and scene and whatnot. So
I was a skateboarder, so I wasn't a punk rocker, but I was definitely, I'd say, on the outskirts of.
Can I guess hear the audio?
Me and 8 of my friends in the town were skateboarders, and everybody else was in sports or whatever. So the story hit home to me in more of a real way than I think other stories would. And so I really wanted to do it. When we were talking about this film, when Jamie and Sheldon first approached me, they didn't come at me with a blank slate. They very much had a palette already built. And part of that palette was this look that Anamorphic gives, which is a very sort of stylized look, but I also feel like it can also lend a bit of realism.
A lot of the movie is very run and gun and kind of in your face and more of what we call a beautiful documentary. And I think Jake, did an incredible job of making everything seem so realistic and authentic, from the wet downs to the handheld, the running, the oneers, it was a very challenging task, and Jake was game.
So Bomb City is a pretty active movie. There's a lot of handheld with the punks, but there's also a couple other times that we did some specialty stuff. We kind of go all over the place camera wise. There's a lot of handheld with the punks. There's a lot of jib work. The film opens with a shot that the director Jamie designed. It would be a one take thing that sort of gets you in the movie without sort of revealing what the heck's going on. It kind of gets you really interested in the story, and then it cuts away. But he wanted to do it in one take, which was challenging because it was a large space we had to cover, and we had to hide a lot. So it's a lot of sound design and seeing tiny pieces of things. But the cool part about that shot was Jamie and Sheldon had exactly what that shot looked like, and we shot it just like that. And I thought that was really cool. So one of the cool things that our gaffer Scott Payne did was the big anarchy symbol. We made that out of Pinaflow bulbs, which are movie lights, but we definitely used a lot of in-scene practicals that they would have. So out in front of Bomb City, they have some Home Depot lights set up. They have, bare bulbs hanging at different places. They have neon signs, hung up throughout the venue. Just any sort of weird light source that they would plug in the places.
So can you pause real quick, and I'll kind of touch on this real quick.
Grab whatever they could.
If you don't mind pausing it. So
No.
Here, what you have. What's kind of cool is that the usage of this is kind of a new trendy thing is the difference in colors in your scene. So like if you look, you've got your yellows, you got your greens, you got your reds. There's so many different color palettes going on here. And so that's what's really cool about these new Godox lights is the fact that they're all battery powered. You can literally set them anywhere. They can be part of the scene. Like you can actually film the light itself, which is really cool. I really enjoy being able to use a light as a practical source and showing it in the scene, like in camera, as opposed to always hiding everything. I just feel like you get a lot better. This looks more real to me. I don't know. But anyway, that was kind of what's really cool about this is, Jake was able to implement this technique and throughout the whole movie. So anytime that you see in the movie, you see the punks, the punk rocker type guys, their life is always very chaotic and very vibrant. And so there's a lot of color going on. And then the other spectrum of things with the other side of the story is more of like football players and kind of more a corporate world. And so that one's less flashy and it's a lot more toned down as far as colors and mood go. So that was just kind of the difference in, what lights and color can do. They're kind of a character in themselves. And so that's kind of what we wanted to establish here. So that was really important to us throughout.
Couldn't plug it in. So in the mosh pit scene, the first time that we really get close to Brian is when he goes up on stage, but we needed some energy. So I had the idea to hang these lights on stage. So we hung them from chains and swung them so that they're moving. And again, with the crowd and with the camera and with those lights swinging, it just gives it energy and life.
With punk rock, it was kind of embrace the chaos was kind of the style that we adopted. And we just called it that after a while because, there was 80 extras in a scene or there was a big fire, there was fights, there was always something going on screen that needed to be captured. And really the only way to capture the essence is to just get in there and get lost in it as well. So you'll see like, Jake's, he's got the camera, he's in there in a mosh pit, some scenes getting bumped around, probably 130 degrees inside that warehouse. It was the first time I had ever seen a silent mosh pit, which was a lot of fun to watch.
The mosh pit was hot, so hot. The cool thing about it is we were in there. We were kicking people. Our key grip, Richard Porter, he was my point guard. And so he was literally, we were in the mosh pit. So he was protecting me. But the fight scenes were definitely chaotic. I mean, you basically had, 30 people in a mob. And so we had fight choreographers and all this. And the way we shot it generally, we'd hone in on little moments and little pieces. And we know we need these beats.
And all kinds of crazy stuff. And he was.
But all the in-between stuff and what happens in between these moments was very documentary style, which I think was very cool. It's very exciting to shoot.
So what's cool about these right here,
so
if you want to play that car. So back it up just a hair, and I'll kind of touch on this car setup. So if you see our characters here, fortunately, this car had a sunroof. So this is where like an LED comes into play really nicely, where you can mount an LED to the top of the sunroof and be able to project some light over the top, just barely any, just a touch of it, and then some out front as well. So that's the importance of having, we didn't have a process trailer here. So a lot of movies that you see, you actually put a car on a trailer and you're able to light all around it. Well, we didn't have the budget for that here. So Jake and Richard Porter, a key grip, they had to build this contraption where if you back it up just a hair again, just a little bit, let's see. A little bit more. There you go. You kind of have an idea. Wait, there it was. You had it with the car. The two cameras were pointing in there. Right there you go, right there. So here you have an idea of kind of the setup here. So we got a light up top that's going in through the sunroof. So that's kind of our key light right there. And then the two cameras set up on the side. So, and then other than that, we're just using the available ambient light through the atmosphere that they lit up in that parking lot to get, whatever shadows and whatever kicks in from there. So we definitely didn't want it to look like, I think a lot of the problem with, certain car shots is people put too much light inside the car and it doesn't look real. So we kind of do something later on that we'll touch on, not in this movie or anything, but another project where we go the opposite of that. So I'll touch on that too. But for this instance, because it's a real life movie, we wanted to play the realism part. So that's why subtle light was very key right here.
Which I think was very cool. It was very exciting to shoot. And so the police raid scene, Jamie definitely wanted that super gritty, which I loved. Like, he wasn't afraid of going dark or anything. He was just like, yeah, go further, more and more. So we basically had a gag where, all the lights go out, and then of course, the police come in with their big flashlights. And it's like, yeah, that's cool. It's definitely chaotic and weird. Oh, so you have all these crazy police lights and flashlights going around, and then this like slow pulsing, garish yellow-green light. And then when they end up in the bedroom, the room with the window, we have all that going on, and then we have the police lights outside and their big spotlight window. So everything's active, like there's nothing stationary. You've got the yellow lights blinking, you've got the police flashlight, and then you've got the lights going together with the sound design and the editing. That whole scene
runs out into the courtyard, and it was raining.
We had sort of prepared for that scene. We had some weather issues. It was supposed to be clear, and then it rained. So we were waiting around for a long time, and we were way behind. But we also knew that we wanted this scene to be very important. So we wanted to do something rather than just a bunch of cuts. So I believe Jamie had the idea that let's try to do this in a winter.
We had to do it in a winter because we really had no other option, and we only had one opportunity to break the glass of the window. Once we broke it, it was done.
So if you watch closely, one of the other cool things about it is
I think that's sugar glass, right?
Sitting there,
breakaway glass.
Cuts back and forth a bit, and then the camera sits behind him, and it slowly dollies in on him. So it's smooth. It's a smooth camera motion. The sign crashes through the window, and then we pull the camera off the dolly, like in the same shot, and basically chase after him in the rain. It's super slippery.
The sign goes through the window. Jake follows Henry outside into the courtyard, and everything came together flawlessly. The AC, I don't know how he did it, but he pulled off the focus somehow.
That was one of those magical shots where I believe once Jamie called cut, I think there was cheers, and there was definitely cheers for the AC because he didn't know what the heck was going on, and he nailed it. Everyone was super, super collaborative on this. And
okay, cool. Just wanted to touch on that a little bit.
Where everyone was.
So you see, we kind of use a little bit of everything there. So color was definitely our friend, and we had a lot of different colors going on, especially in that room that they talked about with the police raid. We call that the sanctuary, and that was, like I said, the production design is a huge key part of it, and then the way that you light, the way you use your lights around your environment. What we typically do a lot is we like to add fog or haze to an environment. I feel like it gives you another stop of light. It just gives it that atmosphere, and it brings it into more of a dreamy land. I don't know. I just really like what haze can do. It really sucks because you have to even it out every time you use it, but it makes your image just look that much better. If you see how much smoke is going on in that room, there's tons of it, and how many different colors we have going on. There's so many. So yeah, that's the room that we call the sanctuary. So yeah, that's pretty much it for that one.
We're not hearing you, Aries.
Sorry, just out of curiosity, I accidentally put myself on the mute mode. Just out of curiosity, how did you guys control the number, the amount of smoke? Because sometimes I use smoke machine and the whole room just like,
Well, for this, fortunately, we were able to hire some professionals to do it. So we had a really good team that was able to handle it for us. So
we've been there. We've been there many times with too much smoke and smoke alarms. And there's always a lot of things you have to worry about when you're running a hazer. But if you can do it, then give it a shot, because it's definitely worth it for the image.
So I mean, some of them are water based, so that's important. If you're going to use haze, use something water based, and you don't need that much. Like, you don't need to go crazy with it. But we'll show in another video kind of how we even it out and how we kind of waft it to get it right where we need it, and then we start shooting. But I would say whenever you're doing a dialogue scene, especially if it's a long dialogue scene between characters, it's very important to have a lot of help to control haze, because haze is very hard to keep even for continuity. So unless you're, if you're shooting a music video or whatnot, you're golden, you're good. But if you're shooting something that needs continuity and it's going to take 3-4 hours to shoot, then, I highly recommend having some help to do the hazer for sure.
Tell me about it. Last time I put on too much smoke that nobody sees nobody.
Yeah, that happens. And then you see it and you're like, this is so cool. And then you get it and you're trying to color something and you're like, well, I don't really see what I'm doing here. I don't see my subject at all.
It's tough. It's really tough for photography.
Jake follows Henry outside.
Sure. Sheldon?
No, you're good. Yeah, I was just saying it's really tough for photography because you're trying to capture that sharp image in one shot. So
yeah. No, still struggling. People need to do the BTS as well. So
yeah.
Outside into the courtyard, and everything came together flawlessly. The AC, I don't know how he did it, but he pulled off the focus somehow.
That was one of those magical shots where I believe once Jamie called cut, I think there was cheers, and there was definitely cheers for the AC, because he didn't.
Well, one of the things that I will touch on here, so if you see that car as it was pulling away, this is something that a lot of people don't realize is very important, but wetting down your environment. So once again, I'm talking about location and talk about environment. If you wet down the ground, a lot of times you're going to get really awesome reflections. You're going to be able to use your lights a lot more. So if you're limited on lighting, I highly recommend wetting things down, especially at night. At night, obviously, you're going to get all those reflections. So if you're in a city or in a skyline, somewhere, it definitely helps. So hazer, I mean, any time of day, you can do day or night for the haze or the smoke. And then wet downs at night, and yeah, I can't say enough good things about doing that. It's hard to wet it down evenly, so you got to look out for that. But if you're able to do it, sometimes it sucks to film in the rain, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do. Yeah, just put a trash bag around your camera and get out there and do it. Done it millions of times.
I believe once Jamie called cut, I think there was cheers, and there was definitely cheers for the AC, because he didn't know what the heck was going on. He nailed it. Everyone was super collaborative on this, and I've never been on a project before where everyone was so invested, because everyone thought it was such a cool film. I mean, the story's amazing, and how we were shooting it, and just the interaction with the actors, like everything just gelled, and it was just such a cool experience. It's a very special movie to me, and I think it always will be, and I think a lot of people feel the same way.
So I do not recommend building a rig like that for the front of a car and filming on that. So that's the disclaimer. Don't recommend it. Filmmaking can be quite a stunt sometimes, and so we were lucky that we had a really good team to help pull all those shots off.
Yeah, safety was their priority. So
definitely don't do anything like that. Sheldon usually has to get me out of trouble because I'm the one that's like, I want to hang out of the car and get the shot, however it goes. But so Sheldon has to keep things grounded and be like, nah, it's too much of a risk, man. Don't do that.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. Can we our users asking, anybody got a Godox LED light ML60? I don't think any one of us has it, right? Do we?
No.
I'm sorry, we wouldn't be able to answer that question, but if we do receive that in the future, we will address that in the future. I think ML60 it's a portable light, so like you can handhold everywhere. but I don't think we have any stock in Australia yet, so I'm not too sure. So here's another question. It says, but it's more practical when it's just using simple equipment. Is there any pro tips for me, because I always avoiding technical stuff?
I agree. It's always way better to use simple equipment. You're going to get more shots. You're going to get more coverage, and coverage is usually, I'm an editor at heart, so the more coverage that I can get and the less I'm fumbling with equipment, the better it is. So if you have time and you only have, let's say, 8 shots to get for your project, like you have 8 literally compositions you need to make for your edit to be complete, then you can spend time on all the technical stuff. But I mean, yeah, if you're just running and gunning with simple stuff, then, you know, it is what it is pretty much. But I like
that mentality. I just, you know, I don't ever let your gear stop you from going to shoot something. So usually as you go along, when you need more gear, you'll have the opportunity to acquire it, but don't let it stop you right now from shooting something with what you got, because there's always a learning experience. There's always an opportunity, and sometimes you can show up somewhere and it just works, and you don't have to have all the special tools and all the special things. So just keeping it simple is really, you know, the best way to get better at what you do, because with the right lights and a small camera kit, you can create some beautiful images, and it'll take you a long ways. So
honestly, getting lucky is probably 80% of it. It's kind of, that's my philosophy anyway. Sometimes you just get out there and you never would think that you'd get a really good shot, and sometimes things work out. So if that camera's not there, you're not shooting, then you won't ever know that. So sometimes your best moment is a surprise. And that happens a lot of times.
Yeah, if you're fumbling with gear, you might miss a creative moment. So whatever gives you the most opportunity to be creative and tell the story you're trying to tell is more important than, you know, all that stuff. So
cool. Here is a question from Cedric.
Yeah, I started Final Cut Pro. I started with BMX and skateboard videos, and Final Cut was my go-to. That's all I used. And then now I'm Premiere Pro, so I'm Adobe Creative Cloud. I think ever since they came out with that Creative Cloud, you can use After Effects, InDesign, Photoshop, Premiere, everything. Adobe has that full suite. I mean, I get that it's a monthly payment, you know, and that kind of sucks. But as far as the amount of like software that you get, it's hard to beat, you know. Like I do like Final Cut. I haven't used it in a while. I haven't even tried Final Cut X. One thing that I know I wanted to try was DaVinci. So I don't know if anyone else has tried DaVinci, but it's kind of something I want to dabble in. But right now it's just been Premiere Pro for the most part, just because I'm the most familiar with that.
Sheldon, are you using the same workflow or?
Yeah, I think it's once After Effects and the integration between After Effects and Premiere came out, it was just so easy for us to switch to the cloud. And, you know, everything was kind of the same workflow. You can go to Photoshop, you can bring those files in. There was no issues with files. Now I think everything's a little more seamless. So Final Cut Pro works great like that, and DaVinci probably works. All files are a little bit more integrated. But when we switched to Premiere, it was the integration that kind of, you know, brought us there, because we were already working in After Effects, and then you were having to export out and make sure it's compatible, and all that compatibility was important. But now everything seems to be seamlessly compatible, and I don't think that there's really a wrong software to be using. No. Whatever you're familiar with, and you know, take some chances. If you know, everything has free trials. If you want to try it out, go do a 30-day free trial and, you know, give it a run.
I think one thing that I liked about the Premiere timeline, at least, is I was able to edit 6K red code raw files natively, like for an hour and a half movie, which is, I don't know if I could at the time. I mean, this was what, 2016, 2017. So it's been a while, but I think ever since then, that's whenever I kind of fell in love with Premiere. Was it didn't crash on me, and so I just really liked it. So I don't know, but yeah, Final Cut's good too. I need to get back in there and try out Final Cut again.
Let's talk about. Should I play the reel?
Sure.
Cool.
So that's just a mix of all kinds of stuff.
All right. Should we move down to the next, or Jimmy?
Let me see what other slides I got here. You know, here's some more photos of some of our setups. So yeah, most of those are the Bomb City stuff, like we already discussed. And then there's this one right here, which is it was more of a fashion shoot. We actually brought out a bunch of one by one. Do you want to zoom
in a bit so we can see a bit more about the details? Yeah.
Let's see here. Okay, that one right there. Can we see that?
Yeah, that's beautiful.
That's Jake, our DP from Bomb City. That we do a lot of commercial work with him as well.
So the important thing here, so this is an in-studio fashion shoot, and what was cool about it is we used these 1x1 panels. It's like a giant LED wall that's like a 18-foot by like 20-foot, just huge screen. And so what we did, I don't know if you saw from the reel, we flashed a bunch of imagery and whatnot behind the models, and we kind of used that as a backlight source, and then had minimal lighting up front. But the other thing that we did, we couldn't wet down the ground to get those reflections off the screen and off the ground that we wanted to do because we were in studio. So we actually found this vinyl wrap, and we used it, we put it on the ground, and it became a reflective surface, and it gave us the reflections that we wanted for this particular shoot. So that's just kind of a way, it's a DIY approach of trying to get those reflections because they just add so much more production value to your composition. So that's why that was important to include that. So that is that. We just saw the reel. Talking about this one. You want to play this video, and then we can kind of go into set building and whatnot, and like what goes into pitching a commercial and putting it all together. If that's cool.
Yeah. So that's a BMT CAT, right? Oh, BMS CAT. Yeah.
Yes. So this is a restoration company. This is like a national commercial spot. So if you're going to do a TV commercial or whatnot, this is kind of, we just want to kind of show you what to expect to kind of, you know, from the ground up, what it looks like.
At BMS CAT, we know we aren't just rebuilding houses. We're rebuilding homes. We aren't just restoring businesses. We're restoring livelihoods. We aren't just recovering property. We're recovering peace of mind. We know because we've been there. Since 1948, we've been helping families and businesses rebuild, recover, and restore their property from water, fire, and smoke damage. BMS CAT, trusted with the world's biggest jobs. Yours.
That's pretty cool.
So yeah, that's a national spot that we did, and then now we can kind of talk about kind of what goes into. Let's see, if you want to pull up the, yeah, there you go. So this one was interesting because in that commercial you saw that we had to flood an office out, we had to set a house on fire, and we had to film some pretty normal looking office stuff in the meantime as well. So those were kind of our, and daytime stuff inside the house. So there were a couple different setups that we had to do.
We had to film it pretty, and we had to film it destroyed. So we had 2 days in each location, and we had to create destruction in between the beautiful pristine. So it was interesting.
So let me zoom in here. As far as our pitch went, you know, we had an idea, a concept of we were going to composite fire, use some visual effects work, and then be able to use a motion tracking camera device that allowed us to show the same dolly again and again and again. And what we did was layer in the different levels of smoke and lighting and atmosphere that the fire would have created as if there was a fire inside that house. So there's a little bit of a breakdown I can go into later on, but it's a lot of stuff. But just wanted to kind of show that. So this is kind of like, as far as our pitch goes, this is kind of what we showed the client You know, we made a little mood board like this, and we were like, hey, this is what we're thinking, what we'd like to do. So that explains that a little bit. And then this was a thing. So I'm not a interior designer by any means or an architect or anything, but we knew that we needed an office, and we knew that we were working in a controlled environment, and it was in a warehouse, but we had to be able to flood it. So the idea, I talked with Jake, who was the DP on this one, and he said it would be best if we position the camera facing no windows. So you don't want to shoot directly into a window. You want your window to be the side light source. So if the sun's coming through, you want it to kick through that window, especially in a warehouse where we have to frost out a window because we don't want anyone to know that we're in a warehouse. So you have to hide the fact that we're working with that. So that's what this window is for. Everything else is a brick wall. LED accent light. So this is where LEDs come in handy. I mean, you can make anything look more realistic and more beautiful with just a little bit of accent lighting here and there. So here's basically what we did. Let's see here if we're able to see this. Okay, guys. Yeah. This image right here. So we're able to build a little wall, dam off the water, and flood it out, and not have a flash flood in this office in this warehouse. So we're able to shoot that safely without any disasters actually happening, even though this was a disaster commercial.
Yeah, we had visual effects supervisors and all that stuff. So I mean, it was, you know, the budget's right to do this stuff, but it was a lot of work, and a lot of people put in a lot of hard work to make, you know, a flood happen inside of a building. It was interesting.
We can't just go into an office and be like, hey, we want to do a flood. Can we flood out your office? You know, what do you think? You know, no one's going to go for that. So we had to use water hoses and kick the water off of there, make it look like the sprinklers were going off, kind of deal. And yeah, and there's our frosted window back here. And then that's pretty much it as far as the key lighting goes.
And we did it at the company that was paying for the commercial. We shot it in their own warehouse. So, and they are a disaster relief company. So there was a little bit of, like, you know, peace of mind knowing that that's literally what they do. Like, yeah, a little bit of peace of mind. So
if we did run into a disaster, that's what happens. But yeah, it's just you got to think outside the box sometimes and create a set. You know, if you know, whatever the shoot's going to call for, you just got to be able to become an architect if you need to be an architect, and you have to act like you actually know what you're talking about. Because I had no idea, honestly, I had no idea with this drawing here if it was going to actually work. I don't think any of us really did, but we just, you know, we got out there and we were able to build it, and it actually worked out perfect, and we didn't run into a flood. So, you know, and it looks somewhat realistic, I think, on camera at the end result. So it worked out. So that was fun. If you want to show that behind the scenes, it'll kind of give you more of an outlook and kind of some visual effects breakdowns and whatnot. That's cool.
Sure. Let me try to BTS rebuild, right? That's BTS called BTS rebuild. Give me one sec. If you can voice over it, that'd be great.
Okay, sure. I mean, it's just music, so yeah. So there's our talent. They're getting dirty, and we had to basically have a couple inches of water. So that set had to be able to hold 4 or 5 inches of water, which is actually a lot of water when you think about it in a contained environment. So yeah, Jake was able to use his jib to, you know, get over all the water and everything and not make a huge mess. So that was nice. We had an audience that day.
Yeah.
So we had, fortunately, we had a pyro team, and they were able to do some actual practical sparks for us. So that's what you see right there, which, you know, is just the cherry on top whenever you get to do something like this. So that's a lot of fun. We used, so here's this shot right here. So let me talk about this real quick. Kind of our process into, sorry, I don't know if you're able to.
Yeah.
You're all good.
No, I think, let me just come back to it. Just give me one second.
Cool. You're all good.
Accidentally touched the wrong.
It's all good. It just that instance is like oh, let's see here. Okay, so for this particular yeah, there you go. So what you have here is you have kind of a visual effects composite. So we had a really nice scenics team that was able to provide us with all kinds of burnt furniture to make it look like the house was burned down. And what we did was composite 3 or 4 different shots of the same exact shot. So it's on an electronic dolly going forward and backwards. And so in post, I was able to take it and blend all the images together I was able to add more damage to it and whatnot. We added some lighting to it. So there's a little bit of that fire light going on in the foreground. You can't really see it. That's from an LED. That's just an LED on the ground mimicking fire. And that's pretty much it. We had a moonlight kicking through the window behind me to kind of emulate the little light that's on the frame that looks like it's falling apart. The canvas is falling off of it. And then if you go forward a little bit more.
Yep.
There you go. Okay. So you kind of have the look of it, when all the lights are out, there's no fire or anything there. It's just the burnt house. So that's just fire damage. So if you keep going forward again, then there's first pass. So what we did is we did haze. So we did passes of the amount of smoke and the amount of haze in the environment. And that was able to help us kind of sell the idea that there's actually fire. So the fire is all CGI'd and all this stuff. So sprinkle more ash on things, able to light. So if you look at that fire shot again, in the background, I'll kind of show you little touches. So in the very back behind the couch, you see actual, looks like firelight flickering. You see it on the lamp right here. Just certain areas where we knew we wanted to make it look like a flame was going to be, after the shoot. And so those areas were where I ended up putting flames in post. So that's how you kind of get an idea of, using your LEDs, even that small the mini M1 light. You could use something like that and use the fire flicker, and it would work. You could do something like that. So that's what's cool about those little lights, is that they can definitely help with something like this. Okay, and anyway, so there's kind of the idea. Just wanted to kind of touch base on, what it went into creating something where you have water, fire, and, more of a nice practical setting too. So that one just kind of touched all the bases of having a lot of different looks in one particular spot. And then having to build everything like the set from the ground up and design it from stuff that didn't even exist beforehand.
The house was a real location. So we had to get in and out of that house one day, which was interesting. But
so we shot, for the house, we shot all the pretty white light, the bright light, everything's happy-go-lucky day. We moved all that out, and literally 2 hours later, the Scenics team brought burnt furniture, burnt everything in there, and lit it up like the house had been caught on fire. So that was really cool. And that's kind of the importance of having, a good solid team that can kind of help you out on, this is a bigger shoot. So I get, whenever you're running and gunning, you're not going to be able to do anything like this. You need to focus on either having a location that's just bright and perfect, or that's already burnt down. But fortunately, we just had a team that was able to let us pull off a lot of stuff in one day. That's just the importance of having, a big production. Anything else you want to touch on that one, Sheldon?
No, I think you got it.
Okay, cool. Let's
should we play the video first?
So play the video first, and then what I'm going to talk about here. So this is going to be more of your run and gun, your smaller team type shoot. So I just wanted to kind of go from a bigger shoot to a smaller shoot and see what the importance of this is.
Give me 1 sec. It's a Rebel Athletic, right?
Yes, Rebel Athletic.
There we go.
You don't look like they do. You can't afford it. You don't have the right body type. They'll never accept you. You fight through the noise because you love the sport. I didn't start in the biggest gyms. My mom taught me how to tumble at home when I was 4 years old. I just see the negative comments as motivation. You work harder, not for them, but for yourself. You never know what you're capable of until you try. Nothing is impossible. My work is my revolt. What do you rebel against?
Okay, so there's that spot, which was a smaller commercial. What was the crew on that? It was you, Sheldon, me, and Hammer, right?
Yeah, 3, and then Erica was there, I believe.
And Erica.
I don't remember. Yeah.
So very limited
3 or
crew.
4, yeah.
Very limited crew, and once again, location was key here because this particular spot. So as far as some of these images go, this girl, to kind of give you like sum it up, she's an Olympian. She's amazing at what she does. But this whole spot was about body image and about being not comfortable with the way that you look, or it's actually about being comfortable with the way that you look, regardless of, you know, what other people think. And for this instance, cheerleading, everybody thinks that cheerleaders need to be petite, little, you know, little types and whatnot. And Angel's not, but she's like an amazing athlete.
She's an athlete, yeah.
She's an awesome person. And so the important thing about this one was obviously the composition, because it was kind of like she's battling her own demons throughout this whole little tone poem kind of thing. And so we thought that it was really important that she was more silhouetted in a lot of the shots. So like if you notice on, let me zoom into here, guys. So this particular image here, fortunately we had a lot of windows and we had some sunlight that helped us out, but we had to haze the crap out of this gym and shoot it. And we actually had some other key lights on the ends, but I won't touch base on those. But you don't always have to have like front light on your subject to get a really cool composition. So here she's just straight up backlit. That's it. That's all the lights that we have on her. And I feel like that's important, especially when the body image is a, you know, particular element that you're trying to portray. So that was really one of the things. We wanted to do it subtly without trying to hit it over the head too much. And all these compositions here are center frame. So I don't normally like to do just center straight down the middle framing for anything. I like to usually do something off to the side or, you know, angle it. I'm just not a very big fan of straight up and down symmetry. And, you know, unless you get lucky and your set works, but fortunately for this, it worked out. So I think based on that, she was doing a kind of a tone poem and she was battling her inner demons. I think that keeping her character centered in all these compositions here was like really important to help the story, you know, become a little bit more clear for what it was.
Just out of curiosity, did you guys use a Panasonic or?
This was shot on the Alexa. Yeah, this was an Alexa Mini. But actually, some of the shots are GH5.
Yeah.
So sometimes we'll cut back and forth between an Alexa and a GH5. So sometimes you can hide it and nobody can tell the difference a lot of times. So some of these shots are GH5, believe it or not. One of the key things that we did here, though, was anamorphic. We shot anamorphic. You get the wide aspect ratio. You get some nice flares. It just helps everything kind of look more cinematic, and we just really like the style. I'm a big fan of anamorphic anytime that we can use it, for sure. And vintage lenses, I think vintage lenses are some of my favorites, for sure.
Yeah. Here's a question from our users. If you want to.
Man, I wish I knew.
I haven't used it. I keep talking about it too. You want to make the jump, but it's hard to make the jump when you're mid-project and it's a client's project. And there hasn't been a time where I was like, okay, I have time to get in and kind of experiment, but I really want to try it out. I just haven't had the chance. And I know, Jamie, we talked about it the other day.
I'm not too familiar with node-based software, and I know DaVinci's all node-based, so it kind of scares me a little bit, honestly. But as far as the quality and the color correction, like it is the industry standard, you know, in coloring, and you can't go wrong with it. I hate, the one thing I do hate about Premiere is that when you export, sometimes that happens. So you get a little bit of color that fails or whatever. The color quality isn't quite there like it is in DaVinci. So Anything to add, Sheldon?
No, I think that's when we started talking about it. Was the Premiere exports have a different, little bit bit off on the color. The Lumetri color, it comes out a little bit different than it looks in the the viewer. So we've talked about DaVinci, and their color science is so good, and we were overly satisfied with the Blackmagic cameras, and they're just a great company. So you want to try what they're putting out. So we're with you.
So here's another question about the wrap. Do you guys want to touch on that?
What was the vinyl wrap? Because I thought about plexiglass and it would be very expensive. Are you talking about on the ground? Because
yeah, he's talking about the Bella V, the LED screen reflected on the vinyl wrap on the floor.
Plexiglass would get interesting too. I think it was too expensive. I think vinyl wrap is actually a lot cheaper. And you're able to just tape it to the ground, and it wasn't sliding everywhere. I mean, Sheldon, you knew more about that. You helped set that up.
We went to a local. We actually worked with some guys that wrap cars around here, and we called up one of our local vendors. He owns a wrap company down here. We went in, and he showed us a bunch of different materials. We talked about what he thought. He was an expert in the field. We did some camera tests at his shop, I know for sure, and we went home and ordered the cheapest one that was closest to it on Amazon. So that was that.
Cool.
But I mean, plexiglass could work. Yeah.
Yeah. Anything that reflects, I think in that situation, plexi would have been weird because vinyl is at least secure for the models, and they were already wearing some pretty high heels. And I know we were shooting some bubbles in there, and it got a little slick on the vinyl wrap. So I think plexiglass might have been a little bit dangerous.
Okay, cool. You want to move on to some Godox tests?
Yeah, sure.
Sure. Okay, cool. Let me full screen this here.
Do you want me to play the video first?
Yeah, let's go ahead and play you don't have to play the full thing, but so what we wanted to do was kind of a fun way to show how mobile and portable the new Godox lights are, as far as being used in like more of a high-end kind of commercial environment, but still run and gun scenario. So that was kind of our thought process behind this one. So we have a video here. That's what I love about the portability of those lights. You can put them anywhere. So yeah, that was our run and gun test with I believe we had an M1 and we had the LC 500R and we also had a VL 200 for the shots outside of the car.
For the key light.
So what was cool about the LC 500R and the M1 was just the fact that like the M1 we could literally put it underneath your little mirror, like the fold down mirror in your
visor,
car. Yeah, your visor.
Do you want to zoom in a bit?
Yeah.
I
don't know if I have any. Yeah, here we go. Okay. Let me.
Like that's how lightweight it is that the visor in your car will hold it in place. And this is extremely, super stylized. And we were doing some camera tests and stuff. And it was 2-man crew, so it was just
totally
and
over
myself,
the top.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's super red here. Don't recommend shooting that red unless you're doing like a Nicholas Winding film where if you've seen Drive, something like that, he's all about the crazy extreme colors. But that's what was really cool is just the fact that you could put that light up there, and it stayed. It never fell down. That was super impressive. So really loved it. The fact that it's also a full 360 degree color temperature light. So that light could be anything we wanted it to be. We didn't have to do red. Could have done anything in the spectrum. You have 360 options, which is insane for something that big, which is really, really cool. And this is the LC500R back here. Same thing. That one has the full spectrum of colors. You can increase brightness. It's on a little dimmer, just like the other light. And just the fact that with this one, you could literally throw it in the back seat and bam, the back of your subject is lit up. It was crazy fast. Like we just wanted to see how fast we could light up a scene and shoot it. And like literally we did this in what, like a minute, Sheldon?
Yeah, and I did like the readout that the screen readout, because I could just go from one light to the other and be like, okay, I'm set at this hue and this saturation, and I can match without having to look at it and eyeball it. It was the exact match. And I you know, as far as there was only two of us and I'm trying to work both lights, and we're both setting up the cameras on the car, and you know, this was, you know, not specifically for a client, so we had a little bit of time, but we're in that situation all the time where we're doing multiple jobs. You know, we call it WIT on sets, whatever it takes. So we'll set up lights, we'll do, you know, I could be running audio, he's running camera, or we're, you know, vice versa, any of those jobs at the same time. And these lights are quick and they're fast and they're reliable. And that was, I mean, you know, the VL200 is super awesome because if you look at the location we're at, we're outdoors. We don't have any access to the interior of these buildings. There's no electricity anywhere around us. So if our light needs to be plugged in, we don't get that key light right there. And that VL200 runs on those V-mount batteries, which is awesome. So the portability is huge, especially in, you know, a type of situation where you don't want to go look for a plug or anything. You know, it's
well, we're running and gunning. I mean, we run and gun 90% of the time. So like, it's super important to have that powerful of a light, completely portable, is like, it's crazy impressive. It's just really cool because that one you could literally take it in a go anywhere kit and you could light up anything that you needed to. It's still compact, but it's super powerful. And yeah, you just plug in some V-mount batteries and you're good to go. You don't have to worry about power. You can go out to the woods, go out anywhere you need to, and it lights all of it up. So that was super impressive. And like for this particular scene, we wanted to basically, you know, kind of mimic these blue Christmas lights up here with the LC500R. So that gave us just enough kick over here to kind of like give us that blue tint. And then our fill light over here with the VL200 definitely gave us enough to expose properly so that she was lit up and she wasn't just a silhouette. So that was, yeah, just having that portability with all these lights and be able to create a set on the fly. Incredible. It's really, really fun. And then, yeah, let's move on to, so let's see here.
Do you want me to play the video first or?
Yeah, sure.
Sure.
This one you can just skim through because there's not a lot going on.
Oh, tell me.
What?
Like,
okay.
Yeah. Do you see the audio?
There's no audio.
Do you hear the audio? All right, let me try.
Okay. No, there's no audio.
No,
there's no audio.
There's no audio in the video. Okay. We'll talk over it.
Okay. Yeah.
So this is a in-house studio recording session. So this is an artist profile. This is actually Sheldon's brother. This is the composer, one of the composers aside from Sheldon, of Bomb City. And so he has his drum set up and he uses all kinds of cool stuff. And what we wanted to do is kind of create more of an artist profile or like a music video type look. And this is using exclusively Godox lights with a couple of practicals that he just had in studio. So we'll kind of go into the BTS here in a little bit, but it's a shot on an S1H and it is anamorphic with a Lomo 50mm anamorphic lens. Yeah, we used some diopters for close-ups and just got him doing his thing with just wanted to kind of balance out the blues and the yellows and the oranges and the color temperatures. And
I mean, without the lights, this is a black hole. You're talking all the walls around there are black. You know, there's one with a couple of brick textures, but for the most part, there's no windows, and it's, you know, it's black in there. So the light was going to be our only depth and our only texture. So
yeah, you have an idea here, and then so yeah, let's go into the behind the scenes of it, and then we'll. All
right, let me.
So we have a video where we kind of can lay it out, and we'll actually go light for light. You can actually see us. If you have the behind the scenes video, I don't know if you have it pulled up or anything, but you're able to see exactly what we did with the black hole. So I always highly recommend killing your house lights. So if you're filming anywhere, definitely kill the overhead lights if you have enough.
Is that this one?
Yep, that's this one. Yep. So there's a couple of in-scene practicals other than the Godox lights, but what we're doing right now is showing you exactly what color temperatures and what our settings were for each of these Godox lights that we were placing to create the video that you just saw. And so that's a VL200 right there. And what we wanted to do was kick it off of the white roof. Fortunately, it was nice and reflective. And that gave us just enough fill to fill out the scene evenly. And then the importance of haze and fog once again. So we didn't want to make it too crazy in there because it's a small room, but this is kind of a way that we even out the lighting or even out the fog and the haze. So it's important to have something to kind of waft it back and forth, and you'll be able to get your shot a lot faster instead of waiting on the smoke to evenly dissipate. So we just gave it a little bit of haze, and then that allowed us to get those nice little light beams. We actually, Sheldon had the idea of setting up there's a microphone right in front of the light, and it actually broke up our beams a little bit. So it gave us just a little bit of ambience that was kind of cool. We kind of liked how it looked. So we just went with it. And yeah, there's that. So the cool thing is you see the light, the M1, the little tiny light, the blue in the right corner, right over here.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the output of that thing. It's crazy. So very impressed with using those little portable lights for sure.
Yeah, let me
You're okay. I can just talk about the photos and stuff. I got photos brought up here if you want to do that.
Sure.
So yeah, here you go. Here's, just an idea of, once again, we'll go back to, let me zoom into this one over here. You guys see that okay?
Yeah.
So that just kind of gives you an idea of, everything that we used. Obviously there's some in-scene practicals. There was like a lamp that was there. Anything practical that you can use that actually matches and can help balance out your scene. Definitely try to use it if you can. I feel like it kind of helps bring everything together nicely. But the Godox lights, I mean, it gave us enough power. We had the 200 over here. I believe we were at 100% power on this one. And that's also what's cool about these SL100s and SL200s is you're able to dim the exact brightness that you need, and they're super powerful lights for what they are. So they do a good job. They create really nice beams. So if you ever need the spotlight of the beams, that's something that we're always wanting to have, no matter what the shoot is. Big fan of beams and the haze that it creates and whatnot. Just like how it looks. And the LC500R over here, I just like that you can put it in the scene and film it as it just lays there, just as like a bare bulb, which is really cool. I just think it looks really cool. It looks like it's part of the environment, like the piano and stuff like that. Just kind of makes it look like it's just something. Maybe it's some instrument down there or whatever. But yeah, so it's just a way to create, a very high-end looking environment with, just a small little studio. I mean, you could do this anywhere on any kind of setup. So that was kind of fun. You want to touch any more on this one, Sheldon?
No, I think you touched on pretty much everything. Yeah, it's the SLs are plugged in, and the VL, I think we did run a power source to the VL because we went ahead and plugged it in. Yeah, I mean, because when you have that's the great thing about it. You don't have to use batteries; it'll plug in too.
yeah, that's pretty much that. So, definitely try to use gels if you're going to use, any kind of gel. Obviously, the M1 and the 500R, the LC 500R, they have the color, balance like there in the light itself, so you're able to adjust it in the light. But as far as some of the bigger powerful lights, you have to use a gel in front of it. So definitely, it's a cheap way to be able to balance things out and to be able to give your scene some pop and some more color. So big fan of using those, and here's kind of a breakdown of what we're talking about here. So here's the lights that we use. So we haven't got to play with the VL300 yet. I assume that's going to be more powerful, right? Have you got to play with that one yet?
I haven't got a chance, but I think with that you can sort of combat, the ambient light a bit during the day, like especially among the trees or in the woods. But I'll give a go. I'll give a go and I'll let you guys know.
Cool. And then these are our go-tos. This is interview setup. You do anything, anywhere. These are the plug-in ones. These SL200s. You able to see that? Yeah. So we use some sets of SL200Ws and SL150Ws and love these lights. They're extremely bright. They fill a room, they fill any environment you want to put them in. They're amazing lights. Once again, we keep talking about this little mini creative light. That's what's really cool is the fact that it's the size of your phone and you can use it for so many things. It's just such a Swiss Army knife of a light. It's really cool. An LC500R, if you want to see what that one looks like. Once again, it has that dial on it, which is really cool. It's got a little LED screen, and you can, skim back and forth and dial your settings in on it. So which is really cool. And then there's all the lights in the set. Once again, the way that we used it. And then here's some more behind the scenes of the car shoot that we did, just so you guys can see. So the ability that a light this size is able to be powered by these batteries alone. So that's amazing. That's really cool. That's such a useful tool for filmmakers like us that aren't, necessarily always running and gunning, but we go to a lot of really remote locations where we need battery powered, and that's all that we have to use. Otherwise, we can't use any lights. So just the fact that something that big can be, brought with us on location anywhere that we go shoot is just, it's an awesome tool to have for sure. And you just plug in like battery, like a V-mount battery, like you would in your camera. You plug that in, and you're good to go.
Cool.
So cool. That's all I got.
Just address the last question before we pack up for the day.
We ran them the other day for 2 hours. I haven't done a complete test, but they ran for 2 hours on those two batteries, which aren't, those are not the biggest batteries you can get, and they ran for 2 hours with no problem. So I haven't done a test as far as I wouldn't know the exact runtime, but
we've ran them for longer than 2 hours, like the LC500R. We ran that for like 2.
Oh no, those shoots. Okay. I was talking more about the V-mount.
You're talking the big one?
Yeah.
The VL200, the VL.
I just know we ran it for 2 hours straight the other day, and it didn't. Yeah. I didn't have a battery charging. I didn't have to stop and recharge or anything. So
which is amazing for that powerful of a light. That thing is bright, very bright. And the little lights, you can run them probably all day and then some, probably like 18 hours or something crazy. Who knows?
Yeah, those little lights.
The batteries last for the no plug-in lights. Yeah, so that's what I'm talking about right now. Is we shot 2 different shoots, and did you charge anything on those shoots?
I've just charged them. I haven't had we've done 3 shoots total now where I've used these lights, and I haven't had them go dead. I think right at the end of the drum shoot, which was probably about a 5 or 6 hour shoot, one of them was pretty much ending its battery life. So, and we left it on the entire time. So they have a pretty good charge. I haven't had a problem yet. I haven't done a test, so I haven't just turned them on and let them run and see how long they last. So I couldn't tell you for exact, but I mean, for
But
the
they
most
made it
part,
through two or
they
three
made it through
even,
both
like
shoots.
shoots like without charging. So very impressive.
Yeah.
Guys, do you want to change your name to be your social media handle so people can find you and follow your work, just in case?
Sure. I have no idea how to do that.
I don't have
click on your
so.
name, and you can change your name, right? Display name. Just change your display name to your social media handle. I think that will be easiest.
Yeah, that's fine.
So people can follow your work. Yep. Cool.
Yeah, there it is. Any other questions right now, guys?
Yeah, I think
thank you
let's
everybody
just
for tuning in, by the way. Like we really appreciate it. 21:9 format. That's interesting.
Yeah, I'm struggling too.
I'm trying to do the math in my head. I'm like, man.
I mean, I typically do a 240 to 1 ratio. So, I mean, I guess it'd be almost anamorphic, right? It'd be kind of close to anamorphic, 21:9.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be a wider screen than normal. I mean, either you can export it anything. If you use After Effects, you use Premiere. I don't know if natively if you can edit in that. Maybe you can in Premiere. If you're still on here, type in what camera you're using, and maybe I can help you with that, just so I can know what file it is and whatever. So interesting question.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys. Thank you. I want to thank Jameson, and thank you, Sheldon, for your time.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
I was overloaded with tons of information to process with.
Yeah, we do that. We talk fast, so.
Yeah, no, for that way, I appreciate that because I do lots of photography, I do lots of flash, but I don't do that sort of multiple lights, LED light setup or stuff like those. That certainly was very informative. I appreciate your time and thank you so much. And
yeah,
guys,
we appreciate you.
And I will see you guys around. See you guys
awesome.
until next time.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
Bye.